welcome to another episode of Partners in Progress. I'm Joe,
And I'm Liz.
and we are an entrepreneurial couple. We're both in business. We both are coaches, and it wasn't enough that we decided to get married and have kids and have all these responsibilities. We decided to be entrepreneurs too. So throw everything on top of there. So
Yeah.
I mostly coach people in real estate, and specifically people in leadership in real estate.
And I help moms that are going through, helping their child go through leukemia treatment and help them find themselves again and to make themselves a priority with self-care.
Yeah. So we're both in the coaching industry. We really believe strongly in iron sharpens iron. And so we're going to do some sharpening tonight. Well, last week we talked about persistence. And I still believe that it is the only single thing that can guarantee success in anything, right? In business and life and health, whatever it is. Because you can, I hate to say this, but it's true. You can do everything right and you can still fail. It can still go wrong.
Oh,
I mean,
we've been there.
look at our journey. We thought that we were doing everything right with our health.
Yeah.
And our son still got cancer.
Right.
I've run 3 different businesses, and there's been times it's like we thought we did everything right, and it just still doesn't seem to be working.
Mm-mm.
But if you persist, if you adjust your approach and you try again, eventually you will succeed. If you just keep going.
What's our favorite phrase? Time to pivot.
Yeah, it's time. Yeah, you got to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, we talked about persistence last week, but I was thinking about it a lot this week, and I was working with some of my clients, and we talked about it a little bit. Is that persistence is extremely important, but it has to be in the right way. Because so often people will just try to keep pushing through to the other side, which is important. It's important to have that courage. It's important to have that that determination to keep pushing through, the persistence.
Right.
And whatever you're looking for is always going to be on the other side of that obstacle. Always. I mean, we talked about this already, but every single thing in our life every single breakthrough we've had in any part of our life, in our marriage, our health, our businesses, our everything has always been on the other side of that really, really tough challenge, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Every single time. And when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel like there's another side. It feels like this is never going to work.
Right. This is how it's always going to be.
And the only way to truly fail is to give up. Right. Is to stop trying.
Yeah. But then you get tired of trying, and
you do.
Going at it 100 miles an hour, and you're just like hitting a wall.
Yeah.
Just hit that wall.
Well, and that's the point that we were talking about earlier, is that so often we try to get through it with what I like to call push power. And that's basically just sheer willpower. You can have, there are people that have a massive amount of sheer willpower, but I don't care who you are. Nobody has an unlimited source. Nobody has unlimited willpower. Eventually you'll run out. Yeah. Eventually you will. And the funny thing is, the universe or God will test you to the point where eventually you will run out.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't, if you're not ready,
and you won't
be probably, but if you're not ready for it, something will happen to make you ready. That's just how it works.
When Kaylin got cancer, we were ready for that.
Of course we weren't. And nobody is. And the moms that you help, they're not ready for it.
Mm-mm. Or when your business starts to not, sell as much as it used to, you're not ready for that either.
Right. And you're thinking, well, I'm doing the right things.
Or when the market shifts, you're not ready for that.
And that's a tough one, because it's like, I've been doing all these things that are working, that have worked up to this point, but
Yeah. It's like the world shifted.
it's like, who is it, Dean Grazios, who likes to say, what got you out of Egypt is not the same thing that's going to get you to the promised land. You
Right.
have to learn how to to
Well,
shift,
I
to
feel
pivot.
like post 2020 is like it's like a different world
Whole
that we're
different world.
in.
Absolutely.
It's completely shifted and we have to learn how to do everything over again. Crazy.
True. We have to learn
Yeah.
how to connect again. We have to learn how to get healthy again. We have to learn how
Yeah.
to, yeah, pretty much everything. It's been a complete shift.
Yeah.
It's been almost like, I almost think of it as like another revolution, or,
It's a little surreal
you know,
if you really think about it.
it's true. Yeah, everything's totally shifted. But the people that can pivot, the
Mm.
people that can learn to persist, can learn to adjust and go back at it and be persistent, those are the people that are going to win.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are the people that are going to succeed in a massive way, because most
Well,
people won't pivot. Most
right.
people will just go with the flow.
Well, I don't know how controversial this is, but if you think about the female swimmer that
Mm-hmm.
had lost to um, that Thomas,
Thomas, yeah,
yeah, and he didn't really have to work very hard, right, to
right,
win that race, but she has been persisting for the past, what is it, like 3 or 4 years
at least,
to fight for her title because
right,
that's her title,
because she knew she won it.
right? But I mean, if she just like persisted and pushed on her own willpower, do you think she would have actually gotten to where she is today?
No, of
No.
course not. And that's why you have to have, like I said, I actually talked to my clients a lot about this. There's a difference between push power, which is that sheer willpower, which you will run out of, and pull power. And what that means, and you know this, but essentially what it means is you you have to have a compelling future. You have to have a compelling vision of what you actually want to accomplish through the goal.
Mm.
So just ramming your way through, sometimes you have to have that brute force. Sometimes you have to have that massive jolt of willpower just to get through the day sometimes. Just depends on the situation, but sometimes you need that.
Mm.
But when it does run out, and it will, what is pulling you toward the compelling future? What is pulling you toward that? And that's what I like to call pull power, because on those days when you're just tired and you don't know, you don't want to get up, and you're sick of it all, and you just want to give in, what is going to what is actually going out here that's pulling you toward it?
Yeah.
And that is your compelling future. You have to have something that's compelling. You have to have something that you want, that is pulling you toward that. You can think of it like, you can almost think of it like as like a Jeep, right? Or a off-road truck or something, and they get stuck in the mud, right? Get stuck in the swamp or mud or bog or something.
Okay.
And the vehicle, it has power, it has RPM, it has willpower, right? And so it can rock back and forth and you can try and get it out of the mud as much as you want, but the problem is a lot of times you're actually going to start to dig yourself deeper, right? And so
Yeah.
that's the push power, right? And a lot of times that's just enough to get you through. But when you're really stuck in that mud,
Yeah. You're not getting out with
and you're just
push.
digging yourself further in, you could even get behind the Jeep and you could start pushing. But what's the chance that you're going to get it out?
Not very
But
good.
if you've got a winch
Mm-hmm.
and you pull that winch out and you hook it to a tree, and that tree is your compelling future, that tree is the reason, that tree is the vision you have, and you start, the winch, the funny thing is, compared to the vehicle, the winch is tiny. The
It's
winch
true.
is not, but it will pull the Jeep all the way out of the mud because of that power. It has the power to pull it out. To it has the power to see things from a different angle, to pull from a different angle, right?
Right.
And that's one of that's one of the most powerful things about having a compelling future is when you kind of project yourself into the future, you can see, you can turn around and you can look at the situation from a different angle. And so having that anchor up here, having that winch that's pulling you forward, that's the difference between whether you're going to make it or you're going to give in. And there's really there's a technically a 6-step process that I work through with a lot of my clients. I call it your compelling future. And the first thing you got to do, the first step to this is you have to you have to allow yourself to dream. And that's that's one of the hardest parts. That's one of the hardest first steps.
Yeah.
Because especially when you're struggling as a leader in real estate and your team's falling apart and you're trying to get things to work, it's just not working. Or maybe you're a mom that has a kid who's going through leukemia treatment
And you don't want to look to the future
and you are
because
afraid
it's
to look at
scared.
the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I am, or was, or am working on.
Yeah, but you have to be able to allow yourself to dream.
Yeah.
And that's first step, and I know it's the hardest. You have to understand that, all right, when my son or when my daughter makes it through this 5 years from now, what are my dreams? What do I want to accomplish? What am I gonna do after this? Or what am I gonna do during this?
Yeah.
What am I gonna learn? You have to be able to open yourself up to learn, to be able to dream, to be able to have a vision. So you have to be able to allow yourself to see the future, right? I think that's where a lot of people get stuck.
It was hard to either look past your fear or look past the
Confusion.
situation that you're in right
Yeah.
now. Like, is it gonna just be this way forever?
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely hard to look past that.
And that's exactly the reason why you have to. That's
Yeah.
exactly the reason why you have to have something compelling. Otherwise, you get stuck in now. You get stuck in now. Obviously, now is the only time we have, right? The present is the only time we have to actually work through.
And the fluid, the future is fluid.
Right.
It depends on you
Well, yeah.
what you're
So
gonna do.
yeah, and right now is the only time that we have to actually work with, to actually do anything with.
I guess
But we get stuck in the mentality of it's like you said, it's going to be like this forever.
if you think about it, like think about the future being fluid, it depends
Mm-hmm.
on what you do now is what's going to shape your future, right?
Yeah,
So
you can predict the future by
if
what you do now.
so if you're just going to sit there and go, oh, this is going to be forever,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to make it forever.
Right.
You're going to make it stay that way. And
If you think you can or you think you
yeah,
can't, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first step. You got to be able to, you got to, you have to be able to allow yourself to dream.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. Again, I know it's difficult, and I know that's a hard first step, and especially like I said for like in your, I mean, in any situation, I work with a lot of people in real estate that feel like they're stuck and they just don't know what to do. They don't see a future. They just see whatever they're trying. They see all of the tasks that they're trying to get through.
Yeah.
And I think that's another shift that if you make the shift of I have to get through this. I mean, if you break that down and you think I have to get through this, and if you imagine your life as a series of tasks, let's say,
Yeah.
right? And your mentality is I just got to get through this task. I just got
Mm-hmm.
to get through this task. I just got to get 10 years down the road, you're just trying to get through your life.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of life is
Well,
that?
and it's the same even with a child going through cancer. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, we just have to get through this treatment, have to get through this treatment. And then you forget to enjoy the moments when your child is actually like having a good day.
Right.
I mean, you feel it in the moment, but then, the next moment, the moments are very short
Yeah.
um, during cancer treatment. It
Yeah.
is the happy ones can be very short.
It can
I
be, yeah.
guess. But if you just think of it like, oh, I just got to get through this, I just got to get through this, and oh my gosh, 2.5 years for leukemia treatment, that's
Yeah,
insane,
right.
right? But then you get to the end of it, and it's like, oh, yeah, that was a long time.
Right.
I still don't feel like it was short.
But when,
But you
yeah,
forget, you don't remember all of the good times. Like I can remember a lot of the good times,
yeah,
but I think sometimes I feel guilty because I don't remember everything and I just wanted to get through like the bad things. And a lot of things blur together.
yeah. But the moments when we intentionally decided to enjoy the good
Yes.
moments, we can still remember those
Yeah.
moments. I can.
Like when we went to the beach when he was having a good day
Yeah.
or
I remember I remember like 3 days after he got diagnosed,
mhm.
and I didn't know if he was ever going to get out of that bed at 8 years old.
Yeah.
And I still remember him standing up for the first time after
3 days of just
after 3
laying
days of
there.
laying in bed.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most powerful moments for me of that whole process.
Yeah.
That image of me standing beside him and just being so full of joy knowing that he was
It,
okay and that he could stand.
yeah, like at this
That
moment
moment
he
is
was good.
seared into my memory, and I'm pretty sure it'll be there forever. But that to me, that was an intentional moment. And I didn't realize it at the time,
Yeah.
but it was a very intentional moment because I forced him to get out of bed. He didn't want to, but he was able to stand on his own. It was this wash of relief.
Yeah.
And so if you can learn to, like you said, to enjoy those moments and
And
to
those
and those moments, I
can
love that you brought that up because those moments can give you a spark and to help you dream.
I was going to say those moments can help pull you.
Exactly.
Even if you can't think of like the big picture, the big dream, go for those moments.
Start with something.
Yeah.
Start with maybe
Remember when
start with your
you sold your first house?
yeah, right.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
back to
that's
go
true.
forward.
And you can actually borrow the courage from yourself at a
Yeah.
past time.
Yeah.
If you don't have the courage now, either borrow it from someone else or borrow it from yourself from a time when you did have the courage. And it's very effective. I've done that on multiple occasions. But start small. If you can't, like I said, if you can't make this big grand dream, dream of something. Allow yourself to dream. That's the first step of letting yourself, of creating that compelling future, of creating the anchor. And then the second piece to it that I always work through with my clients is you have to understand that the values that you live by. You have to understand the when you start to dream, why. When you start to dream of, um, for example, when you start to dream of, you know, I don't know, building your own team as a maybe you're a real estate leader and you're on working for someone else, but you want to build your own team someday, and you start to just let yourself dream a little bit. Why? What are the values that are pulling you toward that? What are the values that trigger those dreams?
Mm.
Is it a sense of independence? Is it a sense of you know honor and integrity toward the people around you? Is it a sense of
Significance.
legacy, significance? Is it a sense of servanthood? Whatever it is, right?
Mm.
What is the values? If you're a mom that's just letting herself dream just a little bit about what her future could look like in 3 years after cancer treatment's over, right?
Yeah.
Is that what are the values are you living by right now? Is it a sense of security? You just want this to be over? Is it
Mm.
a sense of um, is it a sense of love for your family that you want everything to be okay again? Is it a sense of servanthood and nurturing because you want to be able to pull them through that? whatever those are. So you
Mhm.
have to understand what values you're living by when you allow yourself to dream, because those are really important. Your core values are really important to understand why you're allowing yourself to dream. But you got to allow yourself to dream first in order to start to understand what that means.
Yeah,
Does that
that
make
makes sense.
sense?
Yeah.
So you have to understand what your core values are. And then on top of that, once you understand, and I always have my clients pick like the top 5 core values that they really think about, that they really understand. And then what what does your legacy look like? How do you build those three together? How do you take your dreams and your values and turn them into a legacy? A lot of times I ask people, if it was 100 years from now and it was your funeral, right? You lived a long, long life. What would you want people to say about you? What legacy would you want to leave for your family? And I understand that that can be a little bit raw, especially for moms with kids going through cancer.
Mhm.
But this one is especially important. This is especially important to be able to understand how to dig deep, because if you understand your dreams, if you understand your values, then you have a moral obligation to build yourself a legacy so that you can pull yourself and your family and your child that's going through this toward that legacy. You have a responsibility to create that compelling future. Otherwise, you're not going to have you're not going to have that willpower.
Yeah.
The you're not going to have the persistence to push through if you don't have a compelling future to pull your family through
No,
it.
and if you don't think about the future while they're going through the treatment, once they do get through that treatment, it's gonna feel like, well,
Now what?
what do I do now? Yeah. Like, what was the point?
Right? So,
Obviously, that sounded wrong because
no, I
your child is
understand,
still alive. Um, that's the
but it
point.
almost feels like a
But
lot
it's
of
like,
wasted time.
yeah, it feels like you wasted a lot of time just waiting for, those 2.5 years to get done with so
Right.
that you can go on living again. Why can't you live during it?
Yeah. And one of the things that yeah, and one of the things you help moms with a lot is the fact that, one thing we learned, and it took us longer to learn it than it should have, but it is what it is. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things we learned is during this time, during this kind of strengthening and transition time, we can use that to become healthier. We can use that to become wiser. We can use that to become stronger. We can use that
Right.
to help other people instead of just waiting for it to be over and then putting our life back together. I mean, I've got news for everyone watching this. If you have a child going through cancer, it's never going to be the same.
No.
I know that you don't want to hear that, but it changes you. It
And if
changes the way you look at life.
Well, and if you just wait 2.5 years, I know this is the 2.5 years is just for leukemia. Other
Sure, that
cancers
could
are
be different.
different.
Sure.
Some are longer, some are shorter. But um, if you wait 2.5 years to put your life back together,
Yeah. What kind of life are you
it's
going to have by that point?
yeah. And what's your marriage gonna look like? What is your relationship with your other children gonna look like? What's the relationship with the child that has been going through cancer treatment gonna look like?
Yeah.
Like, like if you don't keep on moving forward and living life to the fullest, even in those moments, it's just you're gonna have all these pieces on the floor and they're not gonna connect right.
And do you see why the legacy is so important?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're building a vision that you're pulling your family toward, that you're pulling yourself toward.
Yeah.
Because as you start to pick up the pieces, I mean, here's the thing. You can have all of these pieces, but if you don't know how they fit together, it's not going to do much good.
Right.
You're just going to have a whole bunch of broken pieces in your hands.
So that's why when like
So when
that
you
kind of is how it felt when he got sick. It's like our entire life just was like a
fell
puzzle
apart.
that fell apart.
Yeah.
And when we're picking up the pieces, it looks different, and we can't
The
just put it
pieces
back
the
from
pieces
memory
changed.
anymore. Yeah,
They warped. The pieces changed.
yeah. The
And so
different
we
picture that we're having to put
exactly, so
together.
we have to put the pieces where they'll fit in different
And
places.
what's beautiful about that is that maybe the picture is different, but you're creating it as you're laying each piece down.
And I would even say that you can change the shape of that piece as you
Yeah,
move.
because
Because
it's your life.
and
It's your
that's the
legacy.
dreams, that's the
Yeah.
values, that's the legacy. You're literally shaping those pieces as you put things back together,
You're
right?
shaping yourself and you're shaping your family.
And if you're able to be able to, like I said, kind of project yourself out into that legacy and look back, it's very useful to be able to do that because
Hmm.
um, I had a client that said I do this exercise, another exercise called a letter from the future. Um, but I actually had one of my clients said that she loved the exercise because basically what you do is you write a letter to yourself from a year in the future, and you tell yourself all that you did and all of these things that happened to get you to that point. She said, "This is amazing. We should do this instead of New Year's resolutions because it gives you a path. It
Yeah.
gives you steps to actually get there." And that's basically what your legacy, projecting yourself and your legacy does, is it says, "This is what happened. This
Yeah.
is what people said about me. This is what I accomplished. My son or daughter that had leukemia lived to 100 years old because of the things that I did and the things that I put in place and the way that I was able to nurture my family and pull
Hmm.
them forward toward that legacy."
Hmm.
And so you're able to put those pieces together. And then you can go even deeper. So then you take your legacy on one side and you pull it back just a little bit. And you find, I'll have my clients find a scene, just
Just like a picture.
kind of a snapshot in their life. Or I guess a picture, a snapshot in their life about 10 years from now.
Hmm.
And I have them visualize, and anyone watching this, you can do the same thing. I have them visualize themselves about 10 years in the future, what that would look like. Where are they at? Where are they living? Who's with them? Do they have family around? What are they doing? What kind of career do they have? What kind of house do they have? And have them really, really dig in and describe that and understand what's going on. And then I have them go shrink it, and I have them find a specific moment, a specific scene within that future. Are they sitting, is it a family gathering? Is it a holiday? Is it a vacation in Rome or Greece or something? And really, really feel yourself in that moment and hear the sounds and smell the smells and see the sights, feel the wind on your skin, and really imagine yourself in that scene. And that will help you to be able to start to really clarify your compelling future. That's what creates the pull power. That's what creates this anchor of yourself in the future, knowing that's what I not what I could accomplish, that's what I'm going to accomplish. And then the last step is the most important one. That's the one that most people have the most trouble with. You have to allow yourself to feel that future.
Mm.
You have to connect it to your emotions, because knowing about it logically will not create the momentum. It will not create the drive. It will not create the pull power. You have to understand your future emotionally and deeply emotionally, because that's going to make you want to get up in the morning. That's going to make you want to go toward that dream. That's what's going to make you want to keep going even when your willpower is gone, even when you don't want to persist anymore. You
Yeah.
have that deep emotional connection to what you know is possible, to what you know is out there for you and your family, for you and your team, for you and your career.
Right.
You have to you you have to be able to connect emotionally. You know, you a lot of my clients will say, or a lot of people I talk to, not just my clients, but a lot of people I talk to will say that they're not very good at accomplishing their goals. But in reality, there's two problems. The first is they're not very clear on their goals.
Hmm.
So obviously, you're not going to be able to accomplish a goal that you don't know. You don't
Yeah,
even know what it is, right?
true.
You know,
Or maybe it's
blur,
not the right
blurry
goal.
targets don't never get hit, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing is they don't have an emotional connection to their goals, because emotions are what's going to drive you forward. Human emotion is the energy that drives everything.
Yeah.
I used to think that I was not, I used to think I was not a very emotional guy.
Right.
But then I realized, I had kind of an epiphany when I realized everything we feel is an emotion. Anger is an emotion, frustration is an emotion, indifference is an emotion. Being tired is an emotion sometimes. It's
Yeah.
this
You can
emotional
use it
feeling.
as an emotion. Yeah.
Right. But so which emotions are we going to use? Are we going to use the emotions that empower us, that are going to push us toward that? We're going to connect really deep, joyful emotions to those, to that compelling future, to that compelling scene. And if you do this every day for at least 2 to 3 weeks, you will create such a powerful anchor in the future that will pull you forward. And if you continue to understand what you're fighting for, and if you continue to connect your emotions to it, then nothing will be able to stop you. And that's the difference. That's the difference between push power, just this drive, this willpower, this sheer willpower to just keep pushing through, which eventually will just shatter.
Yeah.
It's the difference between that and the winch. The pull power, the thing that's tugging you closer and closer to what you really want and what you really deserve in life. So do you think that's something that could be helpful for the moms that are going through this, one of the most trying times in their life?
Definitely. Yeah. Because um, I don't know. With me, it was the fact that he had to have these poisons
Hmm.
pumped into him,
Right.
and I had no say. But I did have a say on what was going into his body through his mouth
Right.
and what was going onto his body through his skin.
Right.
So I wanted him to be healthy after he was done with this.
Right.
And I wanted him to not get any side effects. Of course, he still got some,
Yeah.
but I didn't want him to get lasting side effects.
Right.
And so that was my compelling future, I guess.
That was your that
That
was
was
your
my
pull.
pull.
Yeah.
Was I wanted him to not get long-term side effects, and I wanted him to be relatively healthy. And he's had more good days than bad because of the things that we put in
Yeah.
his body and took away from his environment.
And let me ask you,
Yeah.
when you thought about the side effects,
Mhm.
when you thought about the lasting side effects, what picture of him did you imagine?
When I thought about side effects,
Lasting side effects, long-term side effects. What was the picture of
just
him that you were seeing? Were you seeing our
just
8-year
him.
old son?
No,
What were you seeing?
probably a teenager because I can't picture him as a man right now. It's just too hard. But probably a teenager that just wasn't happy. He's sick all the time.
Yeah.
Still had to take him to the hospital, even at 15 years old. I didn't want that.
But what was the alternative?
The alternative to that,
If you had the, if you kept going and you used all of these things that you knew would help him, like night and day, right?
yeah,
I'll tell you I'll tell you one thing I imagined him And I know it's hard, but I imagine him at 30, 40 years old with his own family.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that drove me to basically adopt everything hook, line, and sinker that you were telling me about changing his diet and changing the approach
Yeah.
was that I didn't want this to be the end for him. I wanted him to have a long, fulfilling future.
Yeah.
And there was some selfishness there too. I want some grandkids, and I want to see him grow up, and I
Well, he
want
wants 10 of them, so
to.
you know.
But do you see what I'm saying? You saw a legacy.
Yeah.
You saw something beyond now.
Right.
You saw something instead of just how do I get through this, right? Because that's how we started.
That's how we
That's
started.
how we
Yeah.
started. How do we get through this? But everything shifted when we saw the legacy.
Hmm.
Everything shifted when we had the compelling future. Everything shifted when I had I don't know if this is ever going to happen, but I know he would talk about how he wanted to be a saxophone player, and I would just imagine him being up on stage at 20 years old. So when you can get that compelling future, everything changed it, and everything did.
Yeah.
Everything shifted
Everything did. Yeah.
when we were able to see him not as a sickly 8 year old, but as a strong young man,
It's true.
right?
Hmm.
And we were able to put things in our lives that made everything shift now. And I think that's one of the things that so many people don't realize. It's like, if you have that really compelling future, if you have that vision of you as a accomplished, strong person, or you as that having the career that you've always wanted, or you with your healthy family, if you can really envision that compelling future, things can change now. They
Yeah.
change a lot quick. They can change a lot quicker than you realize.
Well, just in a year and a half. It feels like a year and a half is a really long time.
Yeah,
But when you're like changing things and the compound effect on that,
exactly.
it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we got we as kind of a side effect of trying to help our son, we got a lot healthier. We
Hmm.
both lost a ton of weight. We both
Yeah.
got a lot healthier. We're eating healthier than we've ever ate before. And but it all came from that vision.
Right.
And we may not have been able to articulate it at the time. But
I
it all
don't think
came
so.
from the being able to see what was possible. Being able to see what we could become, what our son could become. Am I right?
Yes. You're right.
And it's the same with you. You have to have a compelling future. You have to, yes, persistence is important. Yes, you willpower as will get you a part of the way, but it won't get you all the way there. You have to have the compelling future. You have to have that. You have to be able to allow yourself to dream. You have to allow yourself to start to understand the values, the core values that are important to you. And you have to allow yourself to see that legacy, see what that can look like. And then it's just a matter of creating a picture, just pulling yourself into the future, creating yourself a picture. Shrink that down into a scene, one moment, and really understand what that feels like. And then most importantly, attach your emotions, because your emotions are the energy and the power that's going to drive you forward in any situation. I don't care if you're a mom with a kid that's going through leukemia, or if you're a leader in real estate, or if you're a truck driver, or if you're whoever you are,
High school student
high
going.
school student,
Yeah.
whoever you are, if you have to have the compelling future to pull you forward, and your strong values and your emotions are what's going to create that energy to put you where you need to be. And until next time, see you then.
Bye.
Bye.